has been all Sweden taking on Latvia here in a matchup of Group B teams. Dave Strader along with Brian Hayward, Joe Micheletti with us as well. It is 5-0 in favor of Sweden, and Brian, it's been all on the power play. 3 power play goals here in the second period.
Well, you could see that Sweden entered this game just full of confidence. They beat this same Latvian team 9-1 at the 2005 World Championships, and they think they know how to play well against them because they have just ripped them apart.
Henrik pass intended there for Kenny Janssen, and that is Sergei Naumov's. It is not Arturs Urbe in goal. So now officially every team in the tournament, Brian, has used 2 goaltenders as we take a look at Sweden trying to connect on the power play.
Yeah, Kenny Janssen was sliding down from the point, and the Swedish point men have been able to do that all game long. The Latvian defenders very guilty of getting too focused. Naumov's, has got 10 saves in this game, but most of the Swedish goals have all been point blank.
Naumov gave up a rebound there, but able to stop the second effort by Sammy Paulson.
The second period, it was all Sweden. Power play goal by Nick Lidstrom. The screen in front by Thomas Holmstrom. Again, Naumov's no chance. And then Daniel Alfredsson on the power play as well. An example of them being sneaking down from the point. Axelsson. They have been in behind the Latvian defenders for the entire game. It was interesting the way this game started. Latvia was playing pretty much a 4-1. In other words, they were just lining people up at their blue line. The Swedes have just picked them apart with pinpoint passing.
That last goal was Henrik Zetterberg, and you may have seen that Naumov had lost his goal stick, toughing up against these talented Swedish players for the goaltender, but he did not have the goal stick, and Naumov's no chance on that Zetterberg shot that was set up by his Detroit Red Wing teammate, Thomas Holmstrom. Here is Forsberg, who set up the first goal of the game. The big story, Forsberg is back, and a wraparound chance to stop by Naumov, and he holds it there.
Peter Forsberg has looked very good in this game. He's been handling the puck and dishing it off at the last second like he loves to do, and setting people up left and right. Most importantly, I mean, he's been so strong on his skates. Very first Swedish goal, well, it was Peter Forsberg who took the initial shot. Sammy Paulson would bang home the rebound, and you want to see a pass. What a pass. Forsberg to Axelsson. I don't know if there's a better player in the world at waiting till the very last second before you unload your pass to your teammate than Peter Forsberg. He is just dominant down low. He's always got his head up handling that puck, and he has got a great set of hands.
Paul Dvorsky of Canada is the referee, also works the National Hockey League games. As Daniel Sedin hands it off, and Michael Samuelsson shot sails in wide. It jumps over the stick of Nicholas Lidstrom. He's racing back after it, being pursued there by Akipans, but Sweden able to work it back out to center ice. Now the Sedin twins out there with Samuelsson. Here is Samuelsson, number 37. Lidstrom with a one-timer, and Naumov hangs on for the whistle.
You see the motion in the Swedish attack. People are moving all over the place on the ice. This is not straight line hockey by any stretch of the imagination. Bengt Gustafsson has got his team really well prepared for this game, because you can see the Latvian defenders, they are running around in the defensive zone. A lot of confusion over who they are supposed to be checking, and that's the big reason why we've seen so often in this game Swedish attackers wide open in front of Naumov's.
Sweden with a 7-2 win to open the tournament over Kazakhstan, then a 5-0 loss to Russia, and they have come into this game angry. And they lead Latvia 5-0. Holmstrom along the end boards had it stripped away by Akipans. It looked like he nearly got it back. Now Kenny Janssen rolls it back in deep. And here is Holmstrom. Hands it off for Zetterberg. Zetterberg walking out of the corner. A centering pass. What a save there by Naumov's rather. And the puck is cleared all the way back down now into the Sweden zone.
That was Jörgen Janssen right down on the doorstep. And the other thing that Bengt Gustafsson has been able to do in this game, Dave, is use everybody. Obviously, with the Swedes running up the score, Peter Forsberg's not going to play significant minutes. They're going to be very careful with him. It was amazing with Forsberg in that yesterday, the first drill that he was involved in, a stop and start drill. There's that save by Naumov right on the doorstep. Jörgen Janssen, watch him lay the stick blade down. Big stop by him.
Leonidas Barishnevs, who is the head coach of this Latvian team that opened the tournament with a 3-3 tie against the United States, that opened some eyes, and played Slovakia very well before losing 6-3. Here comes Sweden again. Modin drops it back for Alfredsson. And it's recovered by Rakis, number 3, and sent down the ice. Another icing call here by Latvia. It's all Sweden leading 5-0.
I joined the Navy because I had a plan. I wanted to work for myself.
Come back here to Palace Sports Olympico with Latvia on the power play, which means we may get the puck down on the Swedish end so we can introduce Henrik Lundqvist to goal, but shorthanded the other way. Henrik Sandin, that shot was blocked by Arvids Rakis. So even with the man advantage, Brian, Latvia having problems just getting control of this puck.
The Latvians look tired in this game, and they have from the outset. Well, it's interesting. There's only 2 NHL players on this roster. They're both defensemen, Sandis, Ozolinsh, and Carlos Skrastinch. They play significant minutes. And both Skrastinch and Ozolinsh have looked tired in this game. I mean, they have not been jumping up into the attack. Here's Ozolinsh handling the puck.
A great skater, of course, has missed most of this season. Voluntarily entering the NHL substance abuse program, was released and given permission to play in these Olympics, Brian.
Just one day prior to the start of the tournament. He had been skating on his own for about 2 weeks, so he's not at 100% in terms of his fitness. He has been Latvia's best player in this event.
Latvians couldn't hold it in. Here comes Zetterberg. He's got Jorgen Janssen with him. Zetterberg, couple of fakes, puck rolls off his stick, and Ozolinsh starts it back the other way with a long stretch pass. Could be a 2-on-1 for the Latvians. And the puck jumps over the stick of Ankipans, who was cutting toward the front of the net. Ozolinsh holding it in as it's picked up on the far side by Lavinch. Rodrigo Lavinch, number 2, couldn't make the play, though. The Swedes able to clear it all the way back. Modin's penalty has expired, so Latvia failing to convert. Here come the Swedes right back. Alfredsson centering pass, and fanning on it was Modin as he was checked by Ozolinsh, who has been out there a long time.
Yeah, he's gassed. He is. Nothing left, David, and right now, this whole Latvian defense, they're swimming. I mean, they're guessing, they're leaving their feet. This is desperate hockey, and it is not working out for Latvia.
Introducing the miracle of fusion.
Back to Palace Sports Olympico. Day 3 of the men's ice hockey tournament. All 12 teams in action today after the day off yesterday. Dave Strader along with Brian Hayward and Joe Micheletti. Sweden with a commanding 5-0 lead, having scored 3 power play goals here in the second period in a span of 2 minutes and 55 seconds to really break this one open. Now Forsberg, who has a couple of assists, a nifty little centering pass there. And it's cleared around the board by Dejevs. And number 17, Dejevs, has it blocked, and now in a second effort will clear.
Dejevs has been by far the best Latvian player.
And Aleyev breaks in, and Lundqvist had some action, and we get a whistle here and a hooking call coming. It looks like it will go against Sweden, so Latvia will have the second power play for them in this game.
Nice little chip pass right here. Pantaleyev skates into the puck. A little hook from behind by Sandin, and that's going to cost him a couple of minutes. Henrik Lundqvist, see him warming up down there. There's good reason for that, because Latvia has only had 6 shots on goal in this game, and of the 6, only 1 has been a difficult save for Lundqvist.
That is Ronnie Sandin, who is in the penalty box, who was added to this Swedish roster after the start of the tournament and did play in Sweden's second game against Russia, that 5-0 loss.
Sandin was a guy who was added to the roster for Team Sweden when Matty Nordstrom was unable to play because of his concussion issues. The veteran of the Swedish Elite League.
Now Latvia working it around on the power play. Rakis, number 3, from the point. It's in the glove of Lundqvist, and he'll hold it there with about 1:23 left here in the second period.
See, Henrik Lundqvist still has that red paint on the side of his blocking pad. He's just really put a cover over top of the blocker he wears for the New York Rangers, but not a lot of traffic in front for him to deal with. Rakis took the shot, and with no traffic in front, it was a very easy save for Henrik Lundqvist.
Seepers wins the draw. And a shot by Rakis does not get through. It was blocked by Sammy Paulson, who has played a strong game here for Sweden as well. Now Carlos Krasnic will hold it in. Axelsson takes over for Sweden, sends it ahead. Here's Paulson, one-on-one against the defenseman Rakes. Less than a minute remaining here in this second period.
You know, Sweden has had almost no time having to handle the puck along the boards. They've been just given way too much time and space. They've been able to skate into holes. And again, I think I've touched on it a couple of times already. The Latvians are tired. And when you're tired, you tend not to lay the body on people. There have been very, very few hits in this game, Dave.
Hockey Pounds decided not to play that puck for Latvia. It comes back to him, though, number 9. Latvia wearing the maroon jerseys and socks with the black pants. Sweden in their traditional gold and blue. As it is cleared back into the Latvia zone. Naumas comes out to play it, and fans on the puck. Now he's trying to stay between the Swedish player Sandin and the puck, and pretty good job of checking there by Naumas. Final seconds of the period. Hockey gets a shot away as it sails over top of the net. Expires here in period number 2. Paulson got the only goal for Sweden in the first, and second period goals by Lidstrom, Alfredsson, Axelsson, and Zetterberg. When we come back, Bill and Ray in the studio. Much more coverage of the Olympics after this. Defeating Canada. Canada had been 14-0 all-time against Switzerland in Olympic and World Championship competition. This has been all Sweden here, leading by a score of 5-0. And as we begin the third period, 3 seconds remaining, in a penalty to Sweden's Ronnie Sandin.
And it'll be interesting to see, Dave, if this Latvian team can kind of regroup, because they stopped moving their feet. The Swedes, who looked slow in their 5-0 loss to the Russians, have been flying all game, and the Latvians have been unable to respond.
It has been a very tough tournament to predict from one day to the next. I mean, as great as the Russians looked in an impressive win over Sweden, they had a tough time earlier today defeating Kazakhstan 1-0.
And they look, although they looked great against Sweden, I mentioned the fact that they were so quick in that game. The opposite was the case today against Kazakhstan. They looked a little sluggish. The jet lag seems to have affected different teams differently in this tournament.
And a penalty coming here just 44 seconds into the third period. And there is Peter Forsberg, who announced after practice yesterday that he was indeed going to play today. A lot of smiles around the Swedish national team. I'm not sure they were smiling in Philadelphia, where he plays for the Flyers.
Peter Forsberg told me yesterday that prior to yesterday's practice, he had not skated since the previous Saturday. And the extra time off really seemed to help. He'd been undergoing treatments twice a day, electrical stim, heat, the traditional treatments that players are involved with when they are dealing with a groin injury. But I think it was the time more than anything that made the difference for Peter Forsberg.
Mariz Sedic is in the penalty box for Latvia, and so Sweden 3 for 5, as we showed you on the power play so far. And here is Forsberg sending it back to the line. And Ozolinsh pass back to Axelsson was just knocked away as Mattias Ozolinsh sends it back across.
If you watch the Latvians kill penalties, they are very passive. Unlike a lot of teams that we have seen in this tournament, they don't put a lot of pressure on the pointmen when they are handling the puck. And Team Sweden, because they are so sharp in this game, they've been given that amount of time, and boy, have they made the Latvians pay.
Here is Lidstrom. Pass across for Ozolinsh. Long-range shot. And Naumas was able to fight that one off, but here is Axelsson getting the return pass. PJ Axelsson now for Forsberg in the corner. Forsberg looks. Still holds. Now hands it off for Axelsson, and it was swept off of his stick.
But you see the time. Way too much time for Peter Forsberg.
And Lidstrom shot deflected before it got to Naumas. As Sweden continues to apply the pressure, now it's recovered, and Carlos scratches. No, he lost it, and a quick shot. Naumas, good stop there on Sammy Paulson, and Latvia able to clear.
It is going to be very interesting to see how Bengt Gustafsson and the Swedes continue to use Peter Forsberg moving forward in this tournament. His line mates today, PJ Axelsson and Sammy Paulson, are defensive players for the most part. I think Peter Forsberg's just being eased back into the lineup, and it would be very surprising to me if at some point Peter Forsberg in this tournament is not playing alongside Henrik Zetterberg.
Here is Zetterberg. Just 5 seconds remaining on this power play, and Umov decides to hang on to it. So there has been a lot of talk coming into this tournament that Zetterberg and Forsberg would play together.
Well, I think we're going to see it. Now, here's that sweep check. Good effort. Gets the puck down. It was Axelsson that swept the puck away from the Latvian defender. And it was Paulson that had the scoring opportunity. We put Peter Forsberg on the line, and even the defensive players start to create some opportunities for themselves.
Here is Ozolinsh, put it ahead, delayed offside. They will whistle it down. So with Sweden in control of this, Brian, a win here over Latvia gives Sweden 4 points. Then the decision becomes, do you play Peter Forsberg tomorrow against the USA, or do you give him 2 days off and let him play against Slovakia?
Well, I think it's going to be completely up to Peter Forsberg. Good story about Leonid Berishnevs, the head coach of the Latvian team. He actually played for Moscow Dynamo back in the 1980s, and that was the real heyday period for Dynamo in the Russian Super League. The hard-nosed guy. He has been very vocal in his criticisms of the officials. And you know, I think a big part of that, again, is that Latvia doesn't have a lot of players rather that play in the NHL. And so those players are not used to the standard of enforcement on the obstruction rules.
Daniel Sedin tried to cut in. Now Umov's able to poke it away.
And I don't think they're coaches either.
Yeah.
And as a result, they're a little bit confused by how tight the referees are calling it.
Here's Samuelsson with a chance. Now Umov showed a quick glove to keep that one out of there. Now Sedin behind the net. Christian Backman, the defenseman, number 8, moved up for Sweden. A wraparound chance here, but it's swept off the stick of Sedin and sent back out to center ice by Najivs. Now Najivs, number 17, had it roll off the stick. Matthias Olin plays it around the boards, but it will be held in.
Again, there's just not enough speed on the attack when Latvia does get, one of the few turnovers they've been able to generate in this game. And as a result, Sweden, who's playing a much sharper defensive game, has got lots of people coming back on the back check. And as a result, Henrik Lundqvist, again, not tested.
Olin dumps it in, and now it is knocked away by Daniel Alfredsson. Matt Sundin throws it across. Latvians get to it, and you were pointing out as the puck is cleared, Brian, before the game today, that Latvia has shown the ability to come back. They just don't seem to have any jump in their legs here in this game this afternoon.
No, they're very discouraged at this point in the hockey game. And, I'm sure that their coach was very stern with them.
As Alfredsson tucks it inside the post to make it 6-0. And the coach will be even more stern.
Yeah, he will be, because there were 2 defenders on the ice. They were both just stick-checking Daniel Alfredsson. And it's tough for Latvia when, the 2 NHL defensemen that they do have, Skrastinch and Ozolinsh, are usually on the ice at separate times. But both of those players look exhausted to me. And it's a big step down in terms of caliber of defensemen when they need to get to the bench for a rest. Matt Sundin is just so powerful. Look at the way he uses his body to shield off the back check of Vasiliev before he just kind of chops it in front to Daniel Alfredsson. And that's a gimme for Daniel Alfredsson. He's not going to miss from there. Second goal of the game for him. The Swedes are rolling. They look confident. This is a completely different team than we saw against Russia a couple of days ago.
A smile on the face of Daniel Alfredsson, playing in his 11th major international tournament for Team Sweden. And the icing call here. Sweden in control of this one, 6-0.
Introducing the miracle of fusion, a revolutionary technology.
Dominated from the outset. They led only 1-0 after 1 as this play blown dead at the side of the Latvian goal. But power plays took over for Sweden in the second period when they scored 3 in a span of 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
There's another point-blank opportunity for Sammy Paulson, all set up by the slick passing right there of Peter Forsberg. Axelsson gets it across. Looked like the attempted shot by Paulson was deflected by a Latvian defender.
Zetterberg, Holmström, Jorgen Janssen, the forward line right now for Ben Gustafsson. Sweden will meet USA tomorrow and then close out the preliminary round against Slovakia. This play broken up. Latvia just can't get anything at Henrik Lundqvist, who's had about as easy a time of it as a goaltender can have in a game in Olympic competition.
Lundqvist was saying the other day that his focus is really about getting himself prepared to play in that quarterfinal game. Now, that's when, it's single game elimination format. And that's the one that everyone is really kind of looking forward to once you're confident that you are in the next round. Interesting to see if Lundqvist plays the rest of the way, of course, with this 5 games in 7-day format. I asked Lundqvist about that. He said, you know what, it's not all that different than when we play in a world championship.
Gertz occupies now number 9, throws it across on the near side. Samuels, the defenseman for Latvia, throws it ahead deep into the Team Sweden zone. Olin took a hit there, but worked it up the boards. Daniel Sedin hands it off now for Nicholas Lidstrom. Back to Daniel Sedin. Gains the line, and it was ruled offside.
There is that Swedish bench, and they have got everything under control in this hockey game. Nick Haviland is not dressed for this game for Team Sweden. He took a slap shot off the inside of his right knee in the Swedes' opening victory over Kazakhstan. And since that time, the knee is swollen up. He's got all kinds of blood that has kind of drained into the joint, and it has affected his mobility in that knee. And he was expecting he was going to be able to play. I saw him prior to the start of today's game, and he just said, you know what, it's not quite there yet. It's a little bit too stiff. So he has his eye on their next game. They will take on Team USA tomorrow. Haviland's hoping to be a part of that game against the Americans.
Naumovs covers up here for Latvia. Of course, we were looking at the standings after that victory by Switzerland over Canada over in Group A. As you take a look at what Sweden faces in the next couple of games, and it looks like Switzerland now with a point against either Germany or Italy in their last 2 remaining games will guarantee a spot in the medal round. And what a story for Team Switzerland.
It is the story of the tournament. There's no question.
And Sandin sets it up. Alfredsson back to Lundqvist. Now it's picked up backhanded by Modin. Boy, he got something on that backhander. And Sipulos now number 47 plays it back. And Arvids Rakis clears it for Latvia to center ice, but it's right back in possession of Team Sweden.
See how the Swedes immediately spread out the field. Once one defender gets control of the puck, his defense partner moves to the opposite side of the rink.
Lundqvist moved in. Naumovs made one of his better stops in tight. Matt Sundin, one more chance. That was blocked. Here's Alfredsson. Sends it across. And a save made by Naumovs as I think Modin was looking back at Alfredsson trying to get him the hat trick as the icing call is made here.
Naumovs is alone. I mean alone back there right now. The Latvians have stopped skating. They've stopped moving their feet, and they've got nothing. They have got nothing left to defend. I mean, look at the movement of the goaltender. Outstanding save by Sergei Naumovs. Naumovs actually played professional hockey in North America. He played for the San Diego Gulls for 5 years of the West Coast Hockey League. He also spent a little bit of time playing pro roller hockey. 5 seasons playing professional roller hockey in North America.
Played for a team called the Minnesota Blue Ox in the roller hockey league. Here's a chance for Latvia. Score! It got through Lundqvist somehow. And Maris Zidic, number 15, will get the goal at 9:10 of the 3rd period. And these Latvian fans that are ready to cheer at any moment for anything are on their feet.
Well, that's a great moral victory for Zidic and for Latvia. That was the first shot on goal for the Latvians in this 3rd period. Nice rush up ice. See the difference here? The difference, it's about speed. Najibs, who has been their best player in this tournament offensively, with a nice little pass. And he was able to slip it home. Zidic with the finish.
Just the 3rd shot for Latvia in the last 27 minutes of playing time.
Yeah, I don't know, what this does for Henrik Lundqvist's preparation moving forward. He'll be well rested. I don't see any reason why he can't play against Team USA tomorrow. He has not been pushed in this game, that's for sure.
USA playing against Slovakia today in the tournament. Omos plays it around on the far side. Now Holmstrom protecting the puck. He took a hit along the boards from Redless. Christianis Redless, as there are a set of brothers playing for this Latvian team as we get a whistle here approaching the halfway mark of the third. Sweden in control 6-1.
I joined the Navy because...
Well, despite the lopsided score, a pretty festive atmosphere still here from the Latvian fans. Of course, the Swedish crowd happy with the 6-1 count on the scoreboard in favor of their team. Sweden has done it mainly on the strength of their power play. They look to add here. Now Umov's able to kick it away from Daniel Alfredsson. 34-6, we have scoring chances in this game. Dave Strader back along with Brian Hayward. Joe Micheletti with us as well.
We talked about the Latvian crowd. They certainly are boisterous. I don't know if any of them get any sleep throughout the Olympic tournament, because we see them along the streets of Torino here quite frequently, and they are having a good time.
Well, I think you've seen them more frequently than I have, Brian, but I'll take your word for it that they're out there. But there is a special night going on tonight here in Torino called Olympic White Night. Just about every business is going to be open as this shot is easily handled by Lundqvist. Virtually every business is going to be open all night long. Not just the bars and the restaurants, but some of the cultural museums, things like that. So you might want to visit a museum at 3 or 4 this morning. Let the Latvians get involved with the spirit of the cheerleaders here.
That's not a bad idea, but is that your story and you're sticking with it?
No, I have witnessed some of it myself. Absolutely. Redless plays it on the far side. Looks for the return pass. And the Latvians cheering a break into the offensive zone. They all stand at the one end of the arena when the puck comes into the zone with one of the Latvians in possession.
Well, Riga, Latvia will actually host the 2006 World Championships, and that's going to be quite an event for that country. The population of only 2.3 million people. They only have 11 indoor rinks in the entire country of Latvia. It's pretty remarkable that they are able to generate this caliber of players, given that situation.
Forsberg pulls away from traffic along the boards, has the puck roll off his stick. And it's cleared back out to center ice.
And when we've talked a lot, Dave, about the 2 victories by the Swiss probably being the biggest victories in their history. The wins against the Czech Republic and against Canada. The biggest win in Latvia's history was when they upset the Russians 3-2 at the 2000 World Championships. That's the one that they really like to hang their hat on.
Now Sipulis could not control as Zetterberg knocks it away for Team Sweden. Here's Holmstrom with it, sends it to Jorgen Janssen, back to Holmstrom, a shot save, and then it hit the goal post. Now it's behind the goaltender in the blue paint. But it was the maroon jerseys that got to it, cleared it to the line, but not out. Zetterberg pass is blocked in front. Holmstrom gets it back. Thomas Holmstrom hands it off. Zetterberg couldn't control, and it's cleared by the Latvians out to center ice.
Did you see that play by Zetterberg? He was actually trying to bank it in off the backside of Neumas, and he almost did it.
Lundqvist watches that shot from Sipulis go by on the near side. As we've got less than 7 minutes left in this one. Sweden comfortably in front at 6-1, looking to move up and have 4 points in Group A.
And the Latvians, they just don't have the energy to get any kind of a forecheck going, which you need to do when you're trailing in a game. They're just kind of hanging back in the neutral zone, as they have done all game. Clearly the strategy from Latvia wasn't going to get it done in this one. They clogged up the middle of the ice. Here's that play where they tried to, where Zetterberg gets the puck. It's behind him. He tries to flip it off the rear end of the goaltender, and it almost works. Yeah, it's fun time right now for Team Sweden.
This face-off now deep in the Latvian zone.
As the score has gotten higher in this game, the resolve of the Latvians has gotten less and less. The opening 5 minutes of the game, they were sliding, blocking shots, really skating well away from the puck. But when Team Sweden started to take charge, they got the feeling they didn't have a chance. And that one goes off the pipe. And it even looks like Naumov's now is starting to run out of gas as well.
Puck sails through the crease, so that negates the icing. Now as Latvia finally gets it down in the Team Sweden zone. Vasilyevs couldn't make the play, and back the other way now comes Daniel Sedin into the zone, crisscrossing with his twin brother Henrik. But he's pushed back by Vasilyevs. They battle in front of the Latvia bench. Here's Lundqvist. Sidesteps one defender. Lundqvist got a shot away but missed the net. And Samuelsson will just chase it back out center ice. Back for Lundqvist. Gains the zone. Sends it in wide behind Naumov.
Well, the Swedes keeping the shifts very short here. High energy. Fresh troops keep coming over the boards every 30 seconds or so.
Dambayevs with a shot here and a save made by Lundqvist. It remains 6-1 Sweden. Along with Brian Hayward, Joe Micheletti with us as well. Sweden in command of this game by a score of 6-1. The game that has marked the return of Peter Forsberg, who has looked every bit the part of the superstar that he's been throughout his career, coming back from that groin injury.
And with the Swedes in full control, the best news is that Ben Gustafsson hasn't had to use him much here in this third period. So they're not going to take any chances with Peter Forsberg, because he's a guy that can't really shut it down. You know what I mean? If he's out there on the ice, Peter Forsberg goes 100%. And so I would be very surprised if we saw him very often in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Forsberg's out there right now, but he's kind of cruising around in the neutral zone. Tjärnqvist, good look at him. Tjärnqvist has had a very strong tournament so far, and with Nick Haviland out of the lineup, all of a sudden he's asked to fill a little bit more of an offensive role for the Swedes. He's done a nice job with it. A couple of goals already in this tournament.
Here's a shot right into the midsection of Lundqvist, and he holds it there. As Agris Samuels getting some playing time here. The Latvians getting down into their third and fourth defense pair.
You know, we heard Bill Clement and Ray Ferraro talking about Peter Forsberg and the fact that he's playing on the wing in this game, and it is significant that defensive responsibilities not as taxing as they are for a centerman. Forsberg, of course, normally a center and one of the great passing centers and the great two-way players in the game. He's just kind of staying away from things right now. Said the other day that he is not concerned about re-injuring the groin. He says that he is absolutely 100% and that he is totally pain-free. Forsberg also has a reputation as a player who is very used to playing in pain. He's not a guy that will say, I can't go. He'll go even if he is in pain.
Here is Paulson now, hands it off behind the net. Forsberg is there looking to tuck it in front. Centering pass was blocked. And that was Paulson, number 26, that ended up on the seat of his pants. He looked around to see if there might be a call. I don't think Paul Dvorsky is going to call anything marginal at this stage of the game.
Watch the way Forsberg gets his head up. And so he can look around, look at all of his passing options, and he's still looking like he's going to pass. It's a favorite move of Peter Forsberg. He looks in one direction, and then he moves the puck in an opposite direction. And he tried to catch Naumov's cheating away from that short side post.
Zetterberg, a pass here in front for Backman was blocked. It is picked up by Jorgen Janssen. Quick shot by Zetterberg, sails over top of the net. Penalty coming against Latvia, and on the touch up here by Tribunsovs, the call will come.
Well, Thomas Holmstrom was stationed in front of the Latvia net. And Team Latvia, you know, they knocked him down from behind, and that was the penalty. It's going to go against Zidich. Where Zidich sits down, and so the Swedes have a little less than 3.5 minutes remaining in this one. They'll spend the majority of it on this power play.
Zidich has the only goal for Latvia, and he's been in the penalty box twice in this period, so he's been involved.
Got his name on the score sheet.
3 for 6, Sweden on the power play, 10 power play shots on goal. As it comes back to the line, Ozolinsh shot doesn't get all the way through, and it's picked up by Tambiev, and he just sends it all the way down the ice.
Nick Lidstrom is a guy who scored 1 power play goal already in this game, but he is just effortless out there this evening.
Zetterberg?
The reason why he's effortless, Dave, he's got so much time.
Yeah. Has not been pressured at all by Latvia in these shorthanded situations. This pass just eludes Matthias Ozolinsh. He's going to have to back it up as it comes to Lidstrom. Lidstrom lead pass for Zetterberg, splits the defense. Couldn't get the shot away, still controls. Now it's knocked off his stick by Tribunkov, who fails to clear.
You see the skill of Nick Lidstrom. I mean, that was a backhand pass. Just one quick snap of the wrist, and all of a sudden he finds Zetterberg up the middle.
Now a fresh set of legs over the boards for Bent Gustafsson for the second half of this power play. And here's Matt Sundin with it. Eason for Backman. Backman plays it up left wing side. Frederick Modin. He'll move it in deep. Carlos Krastic took a hit there. Puck comes free. And Modin has it back up the boards. Less than 2 minutes left in this one. As Anki Pons tries to clear. A bouncing puck. Kenny Janssen controls for Sweden. Sends it to the corner. And a penalty coming as the Latvian player, Arvids Reikis, went down.
Now this penalty is going to go against Frederick Modin, and it's going to be a hooking call against him. Modin's had a couple of hooking calls in this game, and it's quite funny actually. Every time that he gets one, he kind of looks at the referee in disbelief, but every time we show it, it's pretty obvious hooking call. And
yeah,
there's another example of it right there. Saw Carlos Krastic having a little bit of a discussion with Matt Sundin. Krastic is a real warrior. Here comes Sundin. Oh, he gets a shot from behind. Krastic has played every single game, all 82 games, the last 4 seasons that he has played in the National Hockey League.
Alfredson across the line, has a couple of goals in this game, spins away from Krastic, who you were just talking about, Brian.
And he's been out there a long time too, Dave. I mean, again, Ozolinsh and Krastic used to excess in this game by their head coach Barishnets.
Now the Latvian power play begins as Zinic came out of the box, went right to the players bench, and Latvia will close out this game with a man advantage unless we have any other penalties in the last minute and a couple of seconds. Ronnie Sundin plays it all the way back down into the Latvia zone. Umov settled the puck down, and here comes Sandis Ozolinsh. Latvia just can't control the passes. Another sign of fatigue. And Sweden easily able to clear it back the other way.
Well, we would expect that Archer Zerbe will get the next start in goal for Team Latvia. And judging by what we're seeing here, it's going to take a superhuman type performance if the Latvians are going to get points out of their next game.
And that will be against Russia over at Esposicioni tomorrow.
That game might be a little bit easier to play for Team Latvia. There's always a special feeling, shall we say, whenever the Latvians take on Russia. It wasn't all that long ago that the Russians actually occupied Latvia. And there are some bitter feelings that still remain.
This puck is cleared by Olin now with 20 seconds remaining in this one. And Sweden is going to go to 2 wins, 1 loss, no ties, 4 points, and join Slovakia and Russia at the top of Group B. Of course, Slovakia playing today against USA.
Well, the Swedes were in full control from the start of this one, but it was just an enormous difference in their play between their game against Russia. And the big thing was speed. They were attacking with speed and with confidence, and Latvia just had no answer whatsoever.
Well, the horn is gone as Paulson was really upset with the way Arvids Reikis played him on that last rush up the ice, but they were quickly separated and a 6-1 win for Sweden.
Sweden's got Peter Forsberg in the lineup. They're a different team. They have the swagger back, and I think Peter Forsberg gives that to them. if Lundqvist can pitch a couple of games back in that Swedish goal crease like the Swiss have got from their goaltenders, Martin Gerber and David Abisher, watch out. He has not been tested this afternoon, but you know he's going to be down the road. The Swedes look very good. They look very controlled, and all of their star players were razor sharp against Latvia.
Well, as Peter McNabb said earlier today, too, not only does Peter Forsberg do what you just said for the Swedish locker room, he has an effect on the team in the other locker room that is about to face Sweden. 6-1, Sweden over Latvia. More coverage of the men's hockey tournament coming your way right after these messages.
Olympic Winter Games. By Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free DVD. What will you discover? Go RVing. By the U.S. Navy. Navy, accelerate your life. And by Visa, proud sponsor of the Olympic Winter Games. No matter what it takes to live your dreams, life takes Visa.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Until now.
You probably think you know a lot about this town.
Dylan Radigan takes you into the heart of the Las Vegas casino industry. Those who know the business best are putting all their cards on the table. Las Vegas Inc. Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern on CNBC.
There's a great plan that lets you talk with each other days, nights, and weekends. Unlimited minutes, and the best thing about it, it's free. It's called the Family Plan. You just sit down and talk with each other. And there's no static, and the conversation is never dropped. Forget about roaming and text messaging charges. This plan is cheap and easy. Sign up for it today and get your family better connected. I love connected families.
Let's play a game. Let's pretend for a moment. You own an apartment building, and I want to rent from you. I have a steady job, I make a good salary, and have a good credit history. Would you rent your place to me? How about now? Do you still like me, or have your opinions changed? What if I have an accent? Or a last name that sounds foreign? What if I have a disability? What if I'm a single parent? Would you steer me away? Would you close the door? Would you?
The Fair Housing Act protects your right to live where you want, no matter what your race, color, national origin, sex, religion, disability, or family status. If you think you've been discriminated against, call us. Fair housing. It's not an option. It's the law.
I really think the practice we had.
Tonight's prime time is extended to 4 hours to bring you coverage of yesterday's postponed downhill leg of the women's combined. Also, the superstars of men's ski racing return for the Super G. Bodie Miller and Darren Rolfs lead the U.S. charge, with the always formidable Austrians headlined by the Herminator, Hermann Maier. And a classic in the making at speed skating, the U.S. sends a loaded lineup into the men's 1,000 meters with Torino gold medalist Chad Henrik and Joey Cheek, and world record holder Shawnee Davis. Plus short track, world champion Apollo Anton Ono races 3 times for gold in the 1,000 meters. Bobsled begins with a 2-man. Salt Lake silver medalist Todd Hayes begins his chase for Olympic gold. NBC's coverage of the Torino Olympic Games continues.
Back at Palace Sports Olympico, where Sweden dominated from about the start of the second period on, and they win this one by a final score of 6-1 to get to 4 points in the men's Olympic ice hockey tournament. Dave Strader back along with Brian Hayward. It was 1-0 after 1, but it was really in the second period, a span of just under 3 minutes on the power play, that Sweden blew this open.
Well, Latvia really didn't have any answer for the Swedish speed through the neutral zone, and as a result, they started taking penalties, and the Swedes made them pay. Too much time. I didn't like the way that Latvia killed penalties in this hockey game. They were very passive. Look at the time that the Swedes have to move the puck around. That shot by Nicholas Lidstrom. Not only does the speed give you time to get things set up, but it also gives you time to establish screens in front of the net. Peter Forsberg, untouched, slips it across to P.J. Axelsson. The Swedish power play was absolutely on fire, and you could see the Latvians kind of diving all over the ice. They left their feet repeatedly in the defensive zone, and you can't do that against a slick passing team like Sweden because they're going to burn you.
And you mentioned during the course of the game, too, Peter Forsberg is back. Not only adds the talent that he brings, but puts the swagger back in the rest of that Swedish lineup.
Yeah, he does, and he puts the opponents back on their heels a little bit. And, you know, Forsberg, there's so much deception in his game. Whenever the puck is on his stick, you're not really sure what he's trying to do. He's looking one way, he's passing another way, and unless you play him very tight, you get right in his face, well, it's going to be difficult to shut down his line mates because he is so good at just hanging onto that puck for until the very last second before he dishes it off to somebody. Forsberg was great. He only played about 14, 15 minutes in this game. He's going to play a lot more as this tournament moves along.
Well, they still have games against USA and Slovakia in the round robin before we get to the single elimination medal round competition. 6-1 the final score. More coverage of the men's ice hockey tournament from Torino after this.